Greetings of the day, everyone, and welcome to our today's class of informatics practices. In our today's class, we'll move ahead in our Python revision 2. We will be discussing what we have already discussed in class 11, but just in a brief manner. In our today's class, we'll talk about what are the different three inbuilt functions in Python. So, starting with the functions, the first one is the input function. As the name suggests, it prompts the user to push in an input for the Python program. The input can then be processed and then you can give a desirable output. It, the point to remember over here is that Python input operate function always will take the input in form of a string value. So even if you are pushing in a number, it will always take the input in form of a string value. For an example, just take this one. Suppose you are taking using this input function to take an input of a number, but you have just written input, enter a number, and you have stored this value in X. The program then prints the type of X. Okay. In the next line, we have again used the very same methodology, but over here we have used the term method int. The int method is used to convert a particular value into int data type. When we run this program, then as you can see over here, it is asking me or prompting me to push in a number as an input. So suppose we enter 25. So this will give me the output of class str. This output is coming over here because of this print statement type of x. So the type of x is str, that is a string value. Why is it still a str when we enter a numeric value? Because this is how the input function works. The input function is able to process all characters, be it alphabet, be it a digit, or be it any other special character. So because it is having this special functionality to process all these values, it by default takes all the input values as a string value. And then, but if we still wish to change the data type over here, we can always do it with the help of specialized type conversion functions. So as we have done over here in our program, we have converted this input value into type int and then stored it in the value or then stored it in the identifier named y. On doing a type of y, you will get the output of, suppose we enter 25 again. So no differences in the input as you can see, but the difference is in the backend where we have placed a new method class int. So the difference is quite evitable to you. There's no problem understanding the fact that by default the input method will be taking the values as string data type, but if you wish, you can always change the data type as per your needs. Moving on to the next function, that is the print function. The print function is by default taking any input as a comma separated value. So if you have multiple values that needs to be inserted, they can be taken as comma separated values. But there are two different arguments that can be pushed in with the int function, print function. So one of them is SCP that decides what will be the uh, separator between two different object values that has been passed to the print statement. So this is a statement. All these four are the different object values over here that needs to be printed. As a matter of fact, all these are string objects. And by default, the separator value over here is a space, one white space. And the end value over here is a /n. So whenever you print this statement, the next statement when the next print statements execute, it will by default be shown in the next line. In the next line of code, we have changed the end argument and we have changed its value to a dollar symbol. As a result, the between the two objects, you can still see a space, but at the end, there is a dollar symbol. Moreover, the previous end argument value, that is slash n, which is responsible for taking the statement to a new line, will not be shown over here and will not be working. Therefore, the next print statement will be printed from the next space and it will not be propagated to the new line. In the next print statement, we have not touched the end value. Rather, we have changed the separator argument value and we have replaced it with an asterisk symbol. Because of this asterisk symbol, you can see that instead of spaces, now you have asterisk between two string objects. But because there is nothing changed with the end argument, hence the new statement which is coming after it will come in the next line. Therefore, this is a statement which is the next print statement that is present over here will be printed like this. Why do we have an asterisk symbol as well as dollar over here? Because we have substituted the value of both these arguments, the end argument as well as the separator argument. Please ensure that you remember the use of AND and SCP. The next type of functions are our data conversion functions. There are multiple data conversion functions, but we will be only concentrating on these functions: bool, chr, dictionary, float, int, list, str, tuple. These are the data conversion functions that we will be working upon. Let us look at our source code. The source code says that there are two variables, a and b. A is of type int, b is of type float. When you will do a value of a plus b, the output of this should be 22.5, which is more than just obvious. Value of a plus int of b. So what has been done over here? We have deliberately converted, or you may say that this is an example of explicit type conversion, that we are converting the value of b over here into the type int. So the resultant over here will be value of a plus int in the brackets b is equal to 22, because 12.5 will now be converted into an int value. Remember, we are not going after round of function over here. We will just be giving simple output. Therefore, which will mean that we will just truncate the value after the decimal position and we will not round off the digits. Hence, the output will only be 22 and will not be 23. Please be very careful about it. In the next example, we have value of a plus complex of b will give you a plus complex of b. So here we have converted b into a complex type. The resultant hence will give you 22 plus 0.5 plus 0j. Please ensure that you are putting these parentheses over here whenever you are using the complex data type. The complex data type numbers are there, or whenever are printed with these parentheses or the round bracket, as you may say. The next two values are C and D. C has a value of 65. D has a value of 97. As of what you have studied in class 11, you must be resembling these two numbers. Yes, these two numbers are the starting digits for the character values, or you may say that the character values A to Z, both uppercase and lowercase, have their starting positions on these numbers, or these are the ASCII representatives of capital A and small a. So value of CHR of C and CHR of D, what will these two functions do? The character function will convert this particular number into its respective character value. As a result, this will give you capital A and small a. The value of 65 that is stored in C will be converted into capital A. The value 97 will be converted into small a, which will give you capital A and small a. The plus operator over here has been shown, or this is an example of plus operator overloading. Over here, we have overloaded our operator, and because of this, the plus operator is working in the form of doing concatenation. Remember, if the plus operator is used with two string values, it will be doing concatenation. Although, if we are using the plus operator between any two numeric values, it will always go after addition. Value of dictionary of A is equal to 1 and B equals to 2. This will convert this particular set of values into a dictionary. Over here, A will be considered as key and one will be its respective value. B will be considered as a key and 2 will be its respective value. And hence, you will get your output like this. Notice that because A is a string value and B is a character value and B is also a string value, you are having quotes over here. In our next example, we have taken a string value with the value A, E, I, O, U, which are vowel letters or vowel characters. We are printing by converting this string into list. The output, as you may guess, is a string value A, E, I, O, U, which are in the form of list. Each element has been treated as a different value in the list. We have now taken AEIOU in terms of tuple. Earlier, it was in terms of string. Now it is in terms of tuple. And with the use of list method, we can easily convert it into the list. The last method for today's discussion is the type method. Well, the type method, as we all know, returns the class argument or the class type of the object that has been passed as an argument or as a parameter. So, in this example, we are not just going to study or we are not just going to see how the type operator works. We will also look into the fact that how comments work. So over here, when we are putting in these uh, double quotes or three quotes have been three double quotes have or a triple quote is present. The triple quotes are used for putting in multiple line comments. So you can write multiple sentences between triple quotes and you can just be ensured that they will not be evaluated and they will not be interpreted during the program interpretation or during the program execution. This can also be done if you are not sure about your particular programming methodology. Suppose you are developing a very large program and over there you have tried something but you are not sure if this will work or not. So you can, instead of deleting that particular chunk of code, you can just put it within the triple quotes so that it stays over there. And moreover, you can also write that we have tried this methodology but it didn't work. So if after a certain period of time, say suppose a year or 2 years after, you tried, when you revisit the code, you know that if we are making changes by the already done methodology, then it will not work because you can see the code which has been put in over there as in terms of comments. So if I would have written these lines within triple quotes, then this would also not, this wouldn't have executed and hence we wouldn't have been able to figure out our answers. Over here you can see that A is of type string, B is of type int, C is of complex type, D is of float, E is of list type. When you come to F, you can see that there are round brackets over there. Because of round brackets, it just comes to our mind that this is a tuple, but no, it is not. Whenever you are trying to create a single element tuple, you must ensure that it is appended with a comma, as you can see over here. So 15 comma, over here, H is an example of tuple. So what is F? F is a int value and it is not a tuple. So be very careful about it. What is G? As you can understand, there are two elements. They are separated by a comma. They are surrounded by round brackets. This is definitely an example of tuple. So when you check the value, the type of these elements, you can very well ensure that you get these in your result. Class str, class int, class complex, float. As you can see that F is an example of int and it is not a tuple. So remember students, how will you create a single element tuple? A single element tuple can always be created with by placing comma after the first element. If you don't place a comma, what will happen? The element will not be treated as a tuple, rather it will be treated as a integer value, or suppose you have placed a decimal value, so it will treat it as a decimal value, so it will be treated as a numeric type. Comparing different types. So what if we try to compare different data types or different types? So if you try to compare these, you can always do it with the help of double equals to. Additionally, you can also use the is operator. Well, the is was used to check if these for the, or you were used to do the check for identity operators. But over here, you can also use the is operator for checking if both the types of the operands are the same or not. The basic methodology is still the same, that the memory locations will be compared, but this is a different use of is operator as compared to what we have done before. So remember, both the equality operator and the identity operator can be used for checking if two types or the output of two type functions is the same or not. As you can see, you will get the answer as false or true, as it happens in case of both is an equality operator. This is all we have for today's class. If there is any doubt regarding this, please ping me on my mail ID. Have a nice day, everyone, and stay safe at your home.